Right, after the international break, we're back at St Mary's for the big one. Sunday the 14th at midday, Saints versus Pompey. The first meeting between the sides since 2019 when we won at Fratton Park in the League Cup. What a game that was. A few new players in. Obviously, the international break coming up. Glenn, do you think we're going to see Will still go with his preferred formation at 4 at the back? Is this where it really kind of kicks on?
You would hope so. But it depends how many players are away, I guess, and what he's got to work with. So, I mean, I don't know if, like Kasper Jander, for example, is he playing for Germany under 21s or something? I don't know. The under 21s haven't got a round of games. So, yeah. So, I mean, I would anticipate a majority of the players being around. So maybe there is time to work on it. I mean, it's not exactly going to be rocket science to all these players, is it? They've all played in that formation before, but it's just a case of whether that's what Will still wants to do in this particular game. So yeah, I mean, it would be. It'd be interesting to see how he sees the game, because it's obviously a huge game for supporters, and the worst thing we could do is turn up and be crap and lose the game. Because that just puts everything on such a downer. But it's one of those brilliant games, isn't it? Where if it's what football is about. If you win that game, then everyone goes home happy, and you're you can't wait for the next one. So and the fans will be right on board whatever you do after that if you can win this game. I mean, we haven't had a manager who's lost one of these games in the league for quite a while. So
that's a good stat. Who was the last one to lose?
Harry Redknapp.
Oh,
lose a league game.
Irony,
it would have been Harry Redknapp. So that was the famous 4-1 defeat, which wasn't great. But so yeah, I mean, I can't wait for it, because it's just a game it's different to any other run-of-the-mill game that you can get, where you just turn up and watch, don't you? 3 o'clock on a Saturday or whatever. But with this game, the nerves will be kicking in, right from the moment you wake up, if not before. So it's one of those ones that you're just absolutely desperate to play well. And I mean, when we played them last time, I said, "Oh, there's no way we're going to beat them 4-0." I legendarily said that, and we did. So
is this your score prediction getting in early?
No. But you can have a day like that where suddenly everything's fantastic, and even though we lost 9-0 to Leicester about a couple of months after that, that was enough to keep everybody going for a while. So yeah, it's a huge game. I really looking forward to it, and I just hope that the players and the management know how important it is to everybody. I'm sure they do. I'm sure that Franny Benali and the likes will be.
Oh God, we're going to have Mark Dennis singing before the game.
Hopefully not.
Jesus Christ.
Hopefully not.
I can't imagine the police must just say like. No.
He was there doing it before the Stoke game, wasn't he? That was him, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is embarrassing.
He was in the he was in the hospitality lounges for the Stoke game, and did an interview afterwards, and let's just say it wasn't very politically correct.
Steve, I mean, they've started the season all right, to be fair, but you kind of feel like that doesn't really count for anything come Sunday the 14th at midday. That all kind of goes out the window, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I think if we'd been in absolutely honking form and they'd had 100% record, then okay, you can kind of read a little bit more into it. But they've been as up and down as anybody. Couple of really narrow 1-0 wins, but they've been able to grind these results out. Admittedly, they've been against two of the teams that are likely to be down the bottom come the end of the season, against Oxford and Preston. But you can only beat what's in front of you, and they've got the results in those games by doing so. Who else they played? Norwich, and they drew at West Brom, didn't they? Which was, I mean, that was a really good result. But if you look at the context of that game, if you look at there were a couple of refereeing decisions in that game that were absolutely extraordinary. Where, I mean, Pompey should have given away at least one penalty, and there was probably 2 red cards. and the ref just didn't have a clue. And Ryan Mason, West Brom manager, of course, in his first managerial gig, but has always come across, like when he's been interviewed, like when he was a player, and also since he's been a coach, as being like this real laid back kind of guy. And for him to have got a straight red card off the referee for his complaints in that game shows how angry he must have got and how ridiculous the refereeing was. And yeah, if you seek out that video, it's just like the penalty decision and the guy going clean through on goal and just being wiped out. Just extraordinary decisions. But yeah, at the end of the day, the way Mousinho's had them playing ever since they got promoted, they are ugly. They are not fun to play against. They're very direct. Colby Bishop is an absolute pain in the arse. So if we thought we had issues with Kiefer Moore, then probably multiply that with this guy. And for them, it's all about who can kind of get around him and get the knockdowns. As I said about 5-10 minutes ago, Josh Murphy, there's a couple of teams apparently sniffing around him. If they lose him, then that's basically one of their two creative players. The other guy is this Australian lad who scored the goal at Oxford on the opening day, who looks like he might be half decent, but early days yet. But other than that, they are basically just a really sort of well-organised, solid, big, ugly unit. Yeah. So I can imagine both players and fans alike getting pretty wound up by the antics, especially if we're naive enough to give them a route into the game.
Yeah.
We should be good enough to beat them comfortably, but in a derby game, the emotion of it all kind of can throw any kind of random variable in the way. And
we've seen many times over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, we've just got to take the emotion out of the game, play the game as the opposition that you see in front of you, and you can beat that lot. It's player for player. I don't think there's really any competition, but it's all about how the team unit does. And I mean, as you look at the sort of young league table at the moment, their team unit has just about performed better than ours at the moment over the 4 games. So it's not a foregone conclusion.
I think mentally they're obviously coming into it in a much better place. Not that Saints are in a particularly bad place, but the pressure is obviously all on Southampton to win that game. And Pompey will be very happy to. They've got a great manager. They'll be very happy to come and get a draw. And I'm obviously not an expert on this derby. I'm not a native. Only 10 have ever happened in my lifetime. Most of those went before I was sort of 12 years old. So I'm no expert. But I do just feel that
and you won't have seen a Bristol one for years either. Well,
we had one in sort of 2013, 14 time, I think, with Joe Bryan scored the winner when he was about 17. But that's irrelevant. I'm obviously really excited for it, but it's going to be a real mental test for Saints, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot of players who will be nervous. Obviously, they've not experienced a game like that before. I can't wait for it. I think it's such an exciting game to have, but it does make me a little bit nervous, I must admit, despite the difference in quality.
It's going to be a hell of a game for the new signings to be thrown in as well.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. We're going to have sort of probably two debuts potentially, and also Finn, who's only just arrived as well, maybe one more. So, yeah, hell of a game.
Bring it on. Well, listen, we're going to do part 2 of our Pompey preview in the podcast next weekend. We're going to get a Pompey fan on from one of their podcasts. So that is going to be a date for your diary. Don't miss that.
We're going to vet them heavily before, right? Surely.
Oh, yeah. No, we've already done that. Yeah. No, we've already. They're fine. They're fine.
We'll see.
Because we'll have a bit of business, I'm sure, tomorrow in the transfer window. They're going to have the same as well. So we'll get there.
I think it's also worth saying on Pompey, Martin, that the train station's shut that day. So if it's completely shut. So if you're travelling to the game from anywhere that's not Southampton, you need to bear that in mind. It's not just going to be away fans that are going to find it difficult to get there.
There's all the road closures going on.
That's Southampton Central.
Southampton Central, yeah. Southampton Central will be shut. So if you're coming in from, Wiltshire or Basingstoke or whatever, you have to bear that in mind.
It's going to be nuts. Glenn, you're off on holiday, I think. So before you're getting a holiday in before the game. So I'm going to ask you for your score prediction tonight.
Oh, I haven't even thought about it really. Yeah, I mean, what I know about Pompey, as Steve said, Colby Bishop up front, good finisher and a handful. And Josh Murphy is the main man. So hopefully he won't be there, with regards to creativity. I quite like the manager, being objective. I quite like him. Seems a decent guy. I actually thought he might move on in the summer because there's stories about, Pompey, unlike their history, they don't spend a whole load of money. So the budget, I think, is
very
quite
small budget this year at the moment. Isn't it?
So I kind of think Mousinho might get to the point somewhere when he just thinks I can't do any more than what I'm doing at the moment. But he's obviously not there yet, and he's still there. But I did think he might get headhunted, and that may happen. But of course, it won't happen before the next game. So yeah. So we've just got to carry an attacking threat, in this game. And if we carry an attacking threat, as Steve said, we should be good enough to put these away. I mean, there were some derbies in the early 2000s where we played them 6 times, 2 cup games and 2 league campaigns, and in every single game the away team didn't turn up. Whoever the away team was didn't turn up, so that can happen. You make a lot of noise and then don't turn up. And the last time we played them, it was like 2 draws. So there's like 3 bits of bragging rights up for grabs, isn't there? There's the 2 games themselves.
Those were draws that we gave away late on as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we should have won both of them, and then but the final bragging rights is we got promoted and they got relegated. So we kind of won that season, but and this season the bigger picture is, do we get promoted at the end of it? But obviously that would be helped massively by winning this game, both from the point of view of the 3 points and the sort of morale lift that it will provide. So let's get out there and win it. And I'm gonna, for no reason other than madness, I'm going to predict a 2-0 win and a clean sheet.
I'll tell you one thing about Will Steele with that. Obviously, he's only just got it, but he does seem like a football purist in one sense, and I think that he will be encouraging the players to go right for it. And obviously, you look at Portsmouth's possession; they're sort of bottom 5 team in the league. They're bottom 5 team in the league for shots. Saints are top 2 or 3 in the league for shots and possession. So I've got no doubt what the game's going to look like. I think the game will look like Saints hammer and tongs into the box constantly. It's just whether they can manage the transitions, obviously manage the emotion as well. But I think the manager will. I think the manager appreciates what the game is, and I think he'll be right up for it.
Well, your reward for not disappearing on holiday is that you two get another week to think about your prediction. So I won't push you for that right now. And we'll do part 2, as I said, of that Pompey preview on the podcast next weekend.